In the United Kingdom, we are raised to believe something very comforting. We are told that the state pension is solid ground, a place to land, a stone bridge built by the government, waiting to carry us safely across the river and into old age. But walk out onto that bridge in 2026 and you will feel something unsettling. The far side is drifting further away, the planks beneath your feet are getting thinner, and the crowd trying to cross it is growing larger with every single year. Here is the truth that nobody prints on the brochure. The state pension was never designed to be your retirement. It is not your retirement plan, it is your poverty prevention plan. It exists to keep you off the floor, not to lift you into the life you actually want. And once you understand that single distinction, everything about how you prepare for the next 40 years has to change. Let us start with the hard numbers, because this is exactly where the myth begins to crack. In the 2026 to 2027 tax year, the full new state pension pays £241.30 per week. Thanks to the triple lock, that is a 4.8% rise on the year before. Annually, it comes to £12,548. Now, that is not nothing. Compared to many countries, it is a genuine safety net. But look closely at what that money is actually being asked to do. £241 a week must cover your food, your energy, your council tax, your transport, your clothing, and every unexpected bill that lands on the doormat. Spread across the reality of modern British prices, it evaporates with frightening speed. And there is a quiet sting hidden inside it. The personal allowance, the amount you are permitted to earn before HMRC begins taxing you, sits at £12,570. The full state pension is now just £22 below that line, which means the moment you add almost any private income on top, the taxman is already waiting. Fiscal drag has quietly turned the humble pensioner into a taxpayer. Think of it like this. The state pension is a small solar panel bolted onto the roof of your house. On a decent day, it generates just enough power to keep one light bulb flickering in the hallway. The bare essentials, enough to see by, enough to get through the night. But you do not want to survive in one dim hallway. You want to run the whole house. You want the lights on in every room. You want the travel, the comfort, the meals out, the freedom to simply say yes. And a single solar panel will never, ever power all of that. For that, you need your own heavy-duty generator. A machine you own, you control, and you fuel yourself. That generator is your SIP and your ISA. The state provides the flicker, you must build the power. So how big is the gap, really? For this, we turn to the most respected benchmark in the country, the PLSA Retirement Living Standards. The PLSA measures 3 tiers of retirement: minimum, moderate, and comfortable. In their latest 2026 figures, a single person needs around £14,400 a year just for a minimum lifestyle. For a moderate life, a small car, one holiday, a little breathing room, that figure climbs to £31,300. And for a comfortable retirement, the kind with regular holidays, a newer car, meals out, and genuine financial calm, a single person now needs £45,400 a year. Now hold those two numbers side by side. Comfortable costs £45,400. The state hands you £12,548. That leaves a chasm of nearly £33,000 a year, £32,852 to be precise, that the government simply does not touch. That chasm is not the government's problem to solve. It is yours, and every year you ignore it, it only grows wider. Now for the part of this story that catches people completely off guard. The goalposts are moving. If you are close to retirement, your state pension age is 66, rising to 67. That increase is already underway, phased in between 2026 and 2028. That much is settled law. But if you are in your 30s or 40s today, do not anchor yourself to 67. Under current legislation, your age is already 68. And the pressure does not stop there. A fresh government review is examining whether to bring that rise forward, and independent bodies, including the International Longevity Centre, have projected that for people born after 1970, the state pension age may eventually need to climb towards 70, or even 71, simply to keep the system afloat. Read that again. You could spend your entire working life paying national insurance, only to discover the finish line has quietly been dragged 3 or 4 years further into the distance. The bridge is not merely narrower, It is longer than they ever told you. So let us reframe what the state pension truly is. Imagine you are building the house you intend to retire into. The state pension is the bare concrete foundation. It is poured, it is solid, and it does one crucial job. It keeps you off the mud. It keeps you out of absolute poverty. But a foundation is not a home. It has no walls. It has no roof. You cannot shelter beneath a slab of concrete. Stand on it in a storm, and you are still soaked to the bone. The walls, the frame, the roof, the actual living space, none of that is provided. You have to build it yourself. And you build it with the scaffolding of your workplace pension and the timber of your SIP. The state pours the base. You raise the house. Nobody is coming to do it for you. And here is precisely why you cannot simply trust the base to stay generous. The triple lock, that guarantee your pension rises each year by the highest of earnings, inflation, or 2.5%, is extraordinarily expensive. The state pension already costs the country around £138 billion a year, roughly 5% of everything the economy produces. The OBR projects that figure could climb toward 7.7% of the economy within a few decades, with the triple lock responsible for a very large share of that rise. Now layer on the demographics. In 1980, there were 4 workers paying in for every pensioner drawing out. Today, it is closer to 3. By the 2060s, it may be just 2. Fewer and fewer hands, holding up a heavier and heavier promise. Which brings us to the invisible ghost in the room. Means testing. No government has done it. The current one insists it is not on the table. But economists, think tanks, and fiscal watchdogs return to the idea again and again. And if you are decades from retirement, you must plan for the very real possibility that the state pension promised to you today could one day be reduced, delayed, or quietly reserved only for those with nothing else. Build your own wealth, and you may be the very person they decide no longer needs it. So how do you build a bridge that no chancellor can move? You build it yourself, and you make it ruthlessly tax efficient. The single most powerful tool available to most workers is salary sacrifice. Here is the mechanism. Instead of taking your full salary and being taxed on it, you agree to divert a slice of it straight into your pension before the taxman ever sees it. You save the income tax. You save the national insurance. And in many cases, your employer adds their contribution on top. It is quite simply the closest thing to free money the system offers, and most people leave it sitting untouched on the table. Then there is the quiet magic of time. Because of compounding, £1 you invest in your 20s is not worth £1 at retirement. Left to grow for 40 years, it can multiply roughly tenfold. £1 of your own money in your 20s can outweigh £10 of fragile government promises in your 60s. The state pension asks you to wait and to hope. Your own pot asks only that you start early and stay patient. So here is the lesson of 2026. The wealthiest, calmest, most secure retirees today are not the ones who trusted the bridge. They are the ones who quietly built a second one of their own, right alongside it. They treated the state pension not as a requirement they were leaning their entire future upon, but as a bonus they would be pleasantly surprised to receive. That is self-sovereignty. It is the decision to stop asking whether the government's ground will hold and to start pouring your own concrete, raising your own frame, and running your own generator. The state will keep the one bulb flickering in the hallway. That is its job, and its job alone. Powering the rest of the house, the light, the warmth of a real life, the freedom that was always going to be yours. So start building today, because the far side of that bridge is not getting any closer. If this video helped, like and hit subscribe. See you in the next one.